UK comic reviewer here. We've got a Beezer annual comic book from 1994. Now, there were a number of changes in this book, which I'll go into. New characters. Some were good, some, in my opinion, weren't quite as good. But anyway, let's have a look and go into it. We've got a load of things from Sting there. And meeting up with Father Christmas. This one's actually been unclipped, which is good. No writing on there, excellent. Baby Crockett there on a computer, quite advanced for his age. Mind you, youngsters these days are very advanced anyway, so nothing new there. Anyway, we've got Geezer here, the Roger the Dodger, Tricky Dicky type lad at school. Teacher Mole Gubson. Wonder where they got that name from. We have he's obviously put up a waxwork of him there, of this Mole Gubson character, and also a few other waxworks as well by the looks of it. So he's obviously doing some sort of trick here to play on people. Obviously that guy melted in the sun, which was interesting, and obviously they weren't very happy with Geezer, who decided to put a statue of himself there, so the frustrated people could take their frustrations out on him, and he runs off. We've got Sting here. Is that like a family of his or something, or relatives of his, long lost relatives of his? Some other guy there who doesn't like bees being near flowers, even though bees do flowers the world of good. Numskulls, and here we are with numskulls in that guy's brain. Now this is different. One's missing a tooth there, which is bizarre. Anyway, let's move on. It seems to be more in the guy's head and not about the guy himself. It seems to be that the numskulls are doing their own thing, which I find a bit strange. And there's one first major change. It's not a middle-aged man anymore, it's a young lad with numskulls going on. Now, I unfortunately don't agree with that. I think they should have kept the man, really, because I think it was more different. It's just making him like the other characters. And there's Baby Crockett, if he owned a toy shop. If he had the money, he'd buy a toy shop. Obviously, what youngster wouldn't? Adrian the Barbarian again. That young lad from the Middle Ages with all the magical powers and superhero abilities. Fighting a dragon there by the looks of it, and rescuing a princess that's being captured. Wonder where they got that idea from. Adrian's Dragons and Dungeons game. Wonder where they got. Again, I wonder where they got that idea from. It's just some sort of typical board game you get in an annual, really. In the news, some sort of character about a Scotsman cycling around the world, getting an elephant to pump up his flat tyre, as you do. And here we have Blinky. This is the next mistake that they made, I feel. Blinky, this was a young lad instead of the old man who sort of got a bit confused at times. I think people related to the old man better because it was, again, quite a bit different, but they've done a young lad here. I mean, this young lad, from reading the annuals and the comics that this young lad appears in, appears to be very, very spoilt for some reason. A bit like just thinking of her name for a minute. A bit like Fusspot from one of the other comics. I can't remember which one it was from. I don't know if it was Cora or Whizzer and Chips. I'll have to get an annual of that and have a look. But he was a bit like her in a lot of ways. Here he's helping out Santa Claus for a few deliveries, and mixed all the presents up, which, happens. Anyway, we've got Baby Crockett again with a friend of his, and basically a little story about whether they'd meet an alien, and said that some of them he basically confirms that some of them could be scary, including a snake. as you do. So basically, they meet up with an alien who turns out to be some guy on his way to a fancy dress party. Anyway, here's another character change here called Storming Norma. Now, this girl was apparently really, really strong. A bit like Beryl the Peril type character, Minnie the Minx type character, but a very strong one. Also, a bit like Dynamo from another cop. I can't remember which one. I don't know if it was the Dandy she was in or not. So basically, this is the Beezer's version. She's a strong character, very tough, very, very strong. Not a bad little comic actually. Comic strip rather. You've got the Banana Bunch here, as usual. Brainy going into a shed and Fetty being stuck in a bin. And also yoinking Lanky's nose. The characters look a bit different as well, which was a bit strange. I don't know why they changed the look of the characters, I don't know if it was a different artist that did them or not, I'm not sure, but, I don't like it when you have the same characters and you change the appearance of them with no real explanation why. It's a bit unusual, that. Hunt the Bunch. You've got the Banana Bunch, I think, in there. Hidden there, you've got to find them. Some sort of puzzle type thing. In the news, people in the bath. A lot of youngsters didn't like baths back in their day. Some did, some didn't. I think it just depended on them. Some of them used to make out that it was like swimming and having boats sailing around in them. Natasha, some sort of dog. Dog one, a bit like Pearl, the world's biggest dog, and Beryl the Peril's dog, and Tiny, the largest dog. So they've decided to put another dog story in here. Some female dog this time. And also Nasher and Nipper from Beano as well. It's pretty much like any other dog story, really. You got Mini Pound Sting, Villa in Spain for me. Beautiful. He says there. Bees last longer in Spain, so because obviously the weather's a lot hotter over there than it is over here in Blighty. Who's that? Rats? Oh yeah, rats. Yeah, I can see it now. This comic strip about rats going into a restaurant and nicking food, and wanting to they decide to go to a dump instead and get food there. And it looks like they're playing with some things there, which is interesting. Anyway, back on. We have Crazy Daisy character here. With some characters from over the years, presumably, or some characters that she's gone into, or some characters that some of her characters have gone into rather. Potsworth and Co. This was a bit like a superhero-y, Marvel type comic strip about 5 superheroes with a dog, 4 superheroes and a dog, who was also a superhero. Some kids, superhero type kids, from different corners of the world, and this time fighting with their own shadows. Okay, as you do. We've got a big genie type character there, on the top of a load of mattresses, cushions, whatever. Got some more going on there, more superhero type stuff going on there. And also, this Nightmare King getting upset because his Nightmare Patrol's gone. The kids obviously defeated him. And they end saying he'll be a shadow of his former self. Quite right. And at the carnival, Blinky. This is where you see this Blinky lad being quite a spoilt, like, fusspot type character. And he didn't like the fun fair, I presume, and having to drive home on a Dodgem. Although without electric, I can't see how you do that. But anyway, never mind. In the news, there's another lad there, another new comic character called Destroy, who would like to destroy everything, and also like to create crazy stunt type things for like his friends. Quest, another Marvel type comic type thing. Yeah, as usual. Some sort of superhero on a hero adventure type thing, fighting against presumably Normans down there. And obviously well, presumably they win, but it looks a bit, but obviously, or they solve a problem. Usual Marvel heroes type stuff. Geezer again. The Roger the Dodger, Tricky Dicky type lad. This time in the Snills and looking for a Yeti. Snowy Hills rather, looking for a Yeti. He gets chased by an Eskimo. And throwing a snowball at him, and ends up back home again, taking loads of hair from a barber, and ends up with loads of gum on himself and turns himself into a Yeti. And ends up in a zoo. He sold his grandson. Nice of him. For as a Yeti. Again, that's nice of him. Hope he gives him the share. Anyway, we've got in the news some zoo animals helping people out, which, as you do, I mean, as they do. We've got the numskulls again in that young lad's head this time, not the middle-aged chap, which I mean, they did get to the same kind of storyline, but they just didn't. But they changed the character, which I felt was a bit of a bad move, you know. Sorry. Staring at a young lady. Oh, it seems to be a teenager this time, a teenage type lad. Obviously he obviously appreciates the lady's good looks, and she didn't really like it, so and he ends up having a terrible day. The character seems to be playing tricks on him, the numbskully type characters, which is a bit unusual. By £1 million, Adrian the Barbarian have his own banqueting hall. Who wouldn't? These are some sort of like puzzles again. Again, most annuals had these puzzly type things going on. There's a race there. You've got to get to the end. Well, it's it's the Sting trying to get back to his hive. Natasha going to a poodle parlour. Turning into what looks like a fuzzball. And into a poodle, which she doesn't like. Pop, Dick and Harry are back. So these are another old characters from back then. This time building a snowman and building snowy things, and Pop decides to play tricks on Dick and Harry, which sometimes did happen quite a bit. And ends up trying to clear a load of snow after them, and they end up in a snow castle. You'd have to work pretty fast to put that up. And obviously the three of them end up in a snow jail called the Cooler, obviously. Cooking with Rats, the Rats guys who were sort of like the food restaurant-y type one. The Quest, this is another sort of Marvel-y hero type comic strip. Quickly just look through that quickly. Interesting. Obviously they win in the end. Sting again. Stinging some people and ending up in a maze, or trying to help people out, which he does, but not the way they were hoping. And he ends up stuck on a board, as you do. Storming Norma in a tank, this new character, and Sting again with some more characters. I mean, this annual wasn't. I mean, I can relate to. I mean, different people from different generations relate to different annuals. I mean, I couldn't relate to this because this wasn't what I was brought up with. This sort of came out when I was a teenager after my childhood, but it's still a pretty good annual. There's still some good ideas. Anyway, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.